Mount Hope, West Virginia is more than just a place I was born to. This small town has the ability to give ordinary people strength to dare to dream big and act bold. My name's Mama Kid, and I grew up on the same streets that planted seeds deep by women who were here decades before I was even thought of. Stories I grew up on about two women, Mother Jones and Ma Blizzard, teach me what it means to believe in the strength of our mountains and our mountain people. Their legacies aren't just stories from the past. They're lessons that are here for us to learn from today. And I know one thing, if you've been keeping your eyes open, you know better. You know better than anyone. Real change starts at home. It starts where the places that we live on. It starts with what we have.
Mary Harris Jones had been driven from her native Ireland by the potato famine when she was a teenager, then watched her husband and 4 children die during a yellow fever epidemic just after the Civil War. After she lost her dressmaking business in the Great Chicago Fire, she remade herself as the nation's most unlikely labor organizer.
In October 1902, Mount Hope became sacred ground for resistance. Mother Jones arrived in this small coal town and stayed in a modest hotel, the Bailey Hotel, a place lost in the Great Fire of 1910. Late that night, 12 miners knocked on her door, desperate to organize.
The president of the UMW had apologized in advance for sending Jones on this mission. Some union officials thought it was a lost cause. While men in the northern coal fields had scratched and clawed to bring their union into being over the previous 10 years, miners in southern West Virginia had been beaten down by the mine owners, whose power in the state was virtually unchecked.
Among them, their spokesman was dying of black lung, a man who refused to leave this world without standing up for his brothers. When they couldn't afford the charter fee, Mother Jones offered to pay it herself. Within 3 weeks, the spokesman had died. But before he was gone, his spark ignited a fire. 800 miners raised the dues themselves and joined the union, and a movement was born in southern West Virginia. This wasn't just another union. It was the beginning of something bigger, and the fight, let me tell you, had only just begun.
Mother Jones quickly found out what workers were up against. Private guards hired by the coal operators waved guns in her face and threatened to kill anyone who passed out handbills advertising a meeting about the union. But Jones insisted she could succeed where nobody else had.
West Virginia might be this backwater place to most people, but for her, she sees it as a place of resistance and a place that she wants to be part of a fight. Whenever there was a struggle, Mother Jones was there. She said, "I have no home except where there is struggle."
Not far up the road from where I sit, in Kilsyth, West Virginia, lives Sarah Rebecca Rogers. She was watching these events just unfold around her. Their roots were grounded in this land like the mountains themselves. At this point, Tim Blizzard was already a member of the Knights of Labor. It's possible he could have even been one of the 12 men that night up here and talking to Mother Jones. Never know. But I can tell you one thing, them coal operators know who them 12 men were. And they didn't like it. They took all them families and they put them all out on the street. After they got put on the street, this made them have to leave Kilsyth. But that didn't deter them in any way. Sarah decided she wasn't going to fold up. So her and Tim packed things up and they went down Cabin Creek. Down here in Cabin Creek, Tim ended up getting him a job down there in the mines. And their young son, Bill, who was 10 at the time, went to work with him. They struggled to survive, but they survived. They may have lost their home, but Sarah Blizzard found another kind of strength. A quiet, unyielding kind. By 1906, the Blizzards had secured land in Holly Grove. A piece of these mountains they could call their own. It wasn't much, but they worked and they saved. And while Sarah and Tim turned their land into a sanctuary, others still suffered, pushed to the edge by coal operators who didn't care about their lives. By 1913, when the Bull Moose Special came rolling through carrying machine guns and Baldwin felt agents to intimidate miners. Sarah and 3 others miners' wives didn't just hide, they fought back. Using their knowledge of the land, they pried up the tracks, preventing that damn train from returning. They didn't have much, but they had each other, and that was more than enough. While the Bull Moose incident raged through these valleys, Ma Blizzard and her sisters stood together. But the fight wasn't just in the hills, it was in the hearts of the people. In Cabin Creek, after the attack, Mother Jones came back. This time, she was leading the Umbrella March, a symbol of defiance and dignity. The women marched with their umbrellas held high, showing the world that coal operators couldn't break them. Sarah was right there with her hands rough from work and her heart full of purpose. They may have been fighting for survival, but they were also fighting for justice. Let me tell you something. You know better. These women just didn't stand up for themselves. They stood up for all of us, for our dignity and for our future. Mount Hope, Kilsyth, Cabin Creek, Holly Grove, these aren't just places that are lost in time. They're places that prove that change doesn't happen in some distant, unreachable place. It starts right here with where we live and what we got. That legacy they left behind. That quiet defiance is still alive here in these mountains. It's in the projects that we work on. It's in the communities that we serve. The stories that we share with one another. And the folks that are still here fighting for justice. And if you keep your eyes open, you know better than anyone. Change doesn't happen at some far-off place. It happens right here at home. It happens where we live and with what we have. It starts where you take a stand, and you take a stand at home. It's time to take a stand right here.